Today's video is how to build a aesthetic physique. Don't mind these boxes in the background because I'm moving in a couple days, so just ignore that. But what I've found is that a lot of people struggle with focusing on the right muscle groups and just overall how to build an aesthetic physique because they think it's really just all genetics, which I'm going to tell you right now it's not. I used to think the same thing for the longest time, but just through my own personal experience and seeing other people's transformations, it's not the case. Like you can really work around your genetics and build an aesthetic physique. So that's what this video is going to be going over. If you apply every single thing that I'm going to go over in this video, there's no reason why you can't build an aesthetic physique. So with that being said, I will use myself as reference. And as you can see, I thought I had horrible genetics and I would never be able to build a V-taper physique. I thought I was going to have to be stuck with the that wide waist, narrow shoulders look that really just, I guess most people tend to have without the right without training really, or even just like starting training. You don't really have some people, don't get me wrong, some people don't even really work out and they still have like an incredible tiny waist and wide shoulders, but that's not who we're talking about here, because I'm sure most of you aren't that person. And just for reference, what I mean aesthetic physique, that does not mean mass monster, okay? I mean like defined, like proportioned, and just like a V taper. That's what I'm referring to aesthetic physique. And obviously the beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and I'm just going over what I think is an aesthetic physique. And I mean, you guys can be the judge of that when I get to my other pictures, but I just want to make that quick disclaimer here. So going over these pictures here, you can see that the picture on the far left, I think that was like my first bulk, honestly. I think I was like almost 200 pounds there. I somehow still had abs, even though, I mean, I got abs pretty quick, actually, not gonna lie. But regardless of that, you could tell, my waist was not tiny at all. And you look at the second picture too. I think they're pretty close apart. You can see there, it's just very, I was not wide. I did not have the best physique. I thought after a year of lifting, you at least I thought you would have a good idea of what your proportions would look like after working out, but you do it to an extent, but it's not as much as you would think. And then the last picture, or the third picture, that one's actually not too far away. That was only a few months ago, probably. But you can tell right there, I didn't really have I was holding a lot of body fat as well, so you couldn't really see a lot of muscle, but you can see right there, my genetics aren't anything special as far as having a V-taper, aesthetic physique. And then the picture on the far right, obviously, that one's pretty old, but you can see right there, I was trying to do a lat spread and I still, it just doesn't look good, But those are just pictures for reference, so you just have something to compare to, and this is kind of what I'm with now. So again, you can see I'm not the biggest guy in the world by any means, but my waist is definitely looks like it's obviously my waist hasn't changed that much. Obviously I've lost fat and built muscle, but I focused, I was just able to build muscle in other areas that gave the illusion of a smaller waist. The lats being a big one in the back. So I'm going to go over all of that too. And you can tell, just look at the difference from the pictures and the before and afters. So looking at those pictures, I'm sure most people would look at those pictures and say, oh man, yeah, he's fucked. He can't build an aesthetic physique. He just doesn't have the genetics for it. And then those pictures on the right, you could tell, I would say it's at least somewhat aesthetic. I mean, everyone might disagree, but you can just see the differences there, that genetics really aren't everything. So, and again, I'm not trying to show you these pictures just to boost my ego, but I'm trying to show you that there is hope, that your genetics aren't everything. All right, so what you need to know, just because your waist is 38 plus inches right now, that doesn't mean you're out of luck, okay? Apply the steps I tell you in this video, and you will be shocked at what your physique will look like in just a couple of years, really, honestly. Being massive doesn't always mean aesthetic, in my opinion. So obviously there are some huge dudes that are really aesthetic. Obviously Chris Bumstead, Vermundino, those classic physique guys. A lot of the men's physique guys too. But I'm not talking about those guys. Those guys are literally top 0.00001% of the population. So not applicable. I'm not talking about that. But what I'm talking about is for the general population. You don't have to be a mass monster in order to be aesthetic, okay? I'm focusing more on a physique that isn't too big, but focuses more on proportions and overall symmetry and just like a V taper shape. So step one, I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure this is what a lot of people would expect, but you got to get to at least under 10% body fat. Okay, it's not uncommon for an additional 8 or so inches to be added to your waist just from fat and like water and bloat alone. I know right now when I'm peak bulk, my waist is much wider than I'd like it to be, but I just know it's temporary, so I'm just living with it. But yeah, stick to a calorie deficit as long as you need to, and as long as you aren't crash dieting. I've met over countless times how to not crash diet and everything like that. And I've also made videos on how to lose fat, so you can reference those if you're stuck. Having a smaller waist will automatically make your physique look 10 times better. The smaller your waist, even if you're in the wider your shoulders, the more you're honestly going to look bigger than you actually are. You would be actually surprised that with a small waist, wide shoulders, how big you'll actually look, even though you're maybe like only 170 pounds or something. So big shoulders are the biggest compliment to a nice V-taper look, right? Because small waist, wide shoulders, that's what you want. Don't be afraid to train your shoulders 2 to 3 times a week, especially hitting like lateral raises and rear delt flies. Around 8 working sets per workout for shoulders. You should burn like a motherfucker. Make sure to go failure on every single working set as well. Otherwise, your muscles aren't going to grow. So go to failure. I sound like a broken record, but yes, go to failure on your working sets. Shoulder presses shouldn't be a priority because it focuses a lot more on your front delts, which are going to be hit a lot during your chest workouts as well. So I would emphasize doing lateral raises and rear delt flies for shoulders. But yeah, focus on your shoulders, and that will give you a really nice looking physique. Focus on the width of your back. So this is going to build a V-taper from the back. So ideally your lats, the width of your lats is going to be what you want. So lat pull downs, pull ups. One of my favorite ways to like try to get the width on my back is weighted pull ups. It just makes it so it's very easy to progressive overload on my back, and I just noticed that it gives me crazy pumps and it makes me super sore the next day. Not that being super sore is 100% necessary, but in my head it just feels good to be sore, just knowing that I push myself to the absolute limit every single workout. So train lats twice a week and focus on those exercises before you do any rowing movements. Don't get me wrong, doing like rowing movements, focusing on the thickness of your back is also going to be like a contributing factor to an aesthetic back and physique overall. But I would say focus on the width more than anything. I would say like do like width exercises and then go into your rows after that. I know some people like to do a thickness focused back workout, but I've never really been a fan of that. That's just never really been my thing, because I'm always like, you can never have too big of lats in my opinion. So that's just what I do. All right, number 3, upper chest. This is going to help build that fuller chest and make your upper torso look way bigger than if you didn't have a bigger upper chest. Again, complementing the illusion of the V-taper. The more muscle and like definition you have up top, the more like, I guess, beef, if you will. It's just really going to complement your physique much more than, if you didn't have a like good upper chest. I would avoid doing decline pressing because having a big lower chest and like disproportionate chest will just kind of look weird. Like it'll make your chest look kind of flabby, even if it's like you have a decent amount of muscle on your lower chest. It still just doesn't look as aesthetic. It just looks a little bit weird. But I would still do normal chest flies. Yeah, still do normal chest flies to focus on the chest as a whole as well. Obviously, isolating the chest is really good to just hit it from different angles. So you're not just doing pressing, you're doing flying movement as well. Train chest twice a week. That's what I do. And then big upper chest. Yeah, big upper chest will make your chest look way less flabby. And that's what I do for all of my chest workouts. I only focus on upper chest. Because you see a lot of people with overdeveloped lower chest, but very rarely upper chest. So that's just what I do. Great exercises are like incline Smith machine press, incline dumbbell press, or even just incline bench. Honestly, if you like doing that, or if you can get a spot. So train abs as well after your workouts. Obviously, you wouldn't be an aesthetic physique without some sort of prominent abs. Train them only after your upper body workouts. This is kind of what I do. You can train them after legs, but after legs, I'm like so exhausted. Like I just want to go home and just eat and recover. So if you train them too hard, they might get to a point where they're like too big and like blocky looking, and I've cut down a lot of my ab training because there was a time when I feel like my obliques were, I was training like obliques a lot, and when you look at me from the front, it just looked weird. Like my waist would like kind of come down, and then all of a sudden it would come down, and then all of a sudden it'll like just be like really wide. So I stopped training obliques, and I think they've shrunk a little bit, which is good. I do want them to shrink a little bit more, but I would avoid smashing obliques. Maybe throw them in here and there, but do not do it every single workout like I used to. I've made a mistake, and I'm trying to correct my mistake. So even to this day, leg raises are much better than crunches or crunch machines because they focus more on like the lower abs, which obviously whenever you get like super lean, the hardest part, one of the hardest parts to lose the last little bit of fat is on the like your lowest stomach, and then having like good prominent lower abs is really going to help. Not burn fat, obviously you can't really do that, but it'll just help just stretch out the fat a little bit more, distribute it a little bit more, so it looks like you're leaner than you actually are, if that makes sense. So yeah, you still need to be lean to show off your abs, but I do recommend training them sometimes after your workouts, just 2 to 3 sets. And I don't actually even go to failure on this. I really just do it just to very lightly stimulate my abs, just to throw them in here and there. But with that being said, these are all of the steps I would recommend to you to take if you want to build an aesthetic physique, and just kind of complement a V-taper look. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of a quicker video today, but if anyone has questions or just needs help with anything, you can comment down below, or you can hit me up on Instagram because I reply to everyone. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.